Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and I wish to thank Deputy Matt Shanahan for bringing forward this legislation. It's an enormous amount of work to bring forward a private member's bill. I'm well aware of that, and the level of dedication and commitment and work with the parliamentary legal advisers and the drafting team is some amount of work for a deputy plus their team. So I, thank you and acknowledge that it's important that we have this debate. And I thank deputies for their contributions on the second stage of this bill. I have a number of different points I'd like to make, but I would just like to say, as a Dublin deputy, that Fine Gael government introduced the National Planning Framework, I think, on a statutory basis in 2018. It was the first time that a government put a spatial planning plan on a statutory basis so that it couldn't be interfered with. And the whole purpose of that planning framework was to stop the growth of Dublin and to try to drive development, in particular to the west, to the other cities, so that they would develop by at least 50%, and so that you could have contained cities, that you didn't need to come to Dublin for something unless you wanted to come to Dublin for something, that population growth would be pushed, that investment growth would be pushed to those cities. That is the purpose of the planning framework introduced by a Fine Gael government, put on a statutory basis, specifically to drive investment to the west and to the south in particular. I don't know if any deputies, I don't know why they would have heard me talk about wind energy and development, but if you had heard me talk about wind energy and development, all I talk about is the opportunity off the west coast and the south coast, the northwest coast, to be able to develop floating wind energy and to be able to have 12-month a year, to have 12-month a year technician jobs that would be sustainable, high-value jobs there to sustain the industry there. And again, that would give an opportunity for this island, as its population continues to grow, to be rebalanced in terms of spatial planning, to be rebalanced in terms of the economy, to be balanced away from Dublin. As a Dublin TD, it is strategically in my interests to limit the growth of a city on a coast and to make sure that that balanced regional development happens elsewhere. I would also point out that the single most important investment that has been made over the last 5 years has been, of course, investment in the National Broadband Plan, which was opposed by absolutely everybody, as I recall. It was Paschal Donohoe's Fine Gael government that pushed that through, and it was very fortunate that it was, given having regard to COVID, having regard to remote working and the opportunity to work differently. In 2023, over €12 billion will be made available from the Exchequer for investment in public capital projects, which will provide more schools, homes, hospitals and other vital pieces of infrastructure. That level of expenditure will be pivotal in consolidating the progress already made and, most importantly, delivering the necessary infrastructure to support our future climate change obligations, as well as our social and economic requirements. Nobody is in any doubt about the need to ensure timely project delivery must be an essential part of that. There's no point in having the money unless it's delivered to meet the challenges of our time, particularly housing, health and climate change. The renaming of the Department of Public Expenditure, NDP Delivery and Reform, has brought about, while it might be renaming, it has brought about a greater focus within the department led by Paschal Donohoe for the mandate for delivery of the NDP. In light of this new role, a review of support structures and levers available across government to maximise delivery of projects was undertaken, and there's a much stronger role for the department in making sure that things are done. As a result, a series of actions and reforms are identified as priorities to improve delivery of NDP projects, including reducing administrative burden on departments charged with infrastructure delivery. Earlier this year, the government approved 6 priority actions, which are significant changes to reduce the administrative burden in delivering major capital projects through measures to streamline the public spending code to become the infrastructure guidelines. The Minister for Public Expenditure, NDP Delivery and Reform is taking a direct role in overseeing delivery of the NDP through chairing Project Ireland 2040 Delivery Board. Capacity reviews of departments and agencies with significant delivery programmes to be carried out where appropriate to ensure that adequate resources for project delivery are in place. Additional reforms to the Capital Works Management Framework, which sets out the contracts used for public capital projects. Direct reporting to Government on NDP delivery on a quarterly basis throughout 2023 and 2024, and an independent evaluation of NDP priorities and capacity. That package is a fresh approach and a necessary approach to securing delivery of the NDP, which is, of course, our capital investment programme. The Minister for NDP is confident that the combination of the 6 priority actions will boost delivery of the critical infrastructure needed to support the growing economy and higher living standards for those living here. As mentioned by my colleague, Minister Oisin Smith earlier, the Government is committed to detailing progress on the delivery of the NDP at regular intervals into the future to allow for the transparency of the implementation of Project Ireland 2040 across the extensive range of capital projects and programmes, all of which benefit different parts of Ireland, and it is essential that they are delivered and delivered in a timely way. The Project Ireland 2040 Capital Investment Tracker and interactive map will be continued to update updated on a regular basis and detail the outline of the project, the department or body responsible for delivering it, the location and region of the project, and in line with the material detailed in this private member's bill, the tracker and map may also detail the construction commencement date of the project, the completion or anticipated completion project date of the project, the current stage of the project life cycle as per the Public Spending Code, and finally there is also information on the project cost range. It is essential that when government sets aside money for development of capital infrastructure, it is essential that when government creates a balanced regional development programme, that the projects are in fact delivered, and it is clear that there needs to be oversight and transparency of this kind. And I hope that it will give deputies confidence that projects are being developed in their areas, in their regions, in their constituencies, and that they can clearly see the expectations set and can clearly hold the relevant government departments and agencies to account on the delivery of the relevant projects, as the Minister will be. As also set out by Minister Smith earlier, the Minister for Public Expenditure, NDP Delivery and Reform will continue to publish the Project Ireland 2040 annual reports in the years ahead, which highlight the delivery of publicly funded capital projects throughout the country last year. Further to the annual reports, 3 regional reports for Eastern and Midland region, the Northern and Western region and the Southern regions will also be published. I want to thank Deputy Shanahan for his focus on delivery for all of the regions. There has been significant capital investment in this state over the past number of years. We are in the fortunate position of being able to do that after a period where no capital investment projects were able to be supported because of the downturn in our public finances. We have the public finances to be able to deliver capital infrastructure. We are a very significantly growing economy, unique in Europe in many respects in that respect, and having the budget surpluses to be able to invest in capital projects. But it is essential, of course, that notwithstanding construction unemployment of about 2% and the challenges that raises, that we are able to deliver infrastructure projects for the benefit of our citizens. Notwithstanding the supply chain and the construction unemployment constraints, we cannot allow delivery projects to be delayed because of administrative burdens or administrative inefficiencies. And the Minister is absolutely squarely focused on making sure that that does not happen and is accountable to the House for that, but I think is also accountable through the various enhanced transparency measures, which I hope will be of assistance to deputies. I thank Deputy Shanahan for his work on this.